If you are playing at this stage in the World Championship, you've got something to prove. They call it the proving grounds here. Round one of the Swiss stage, and boy, do these teams both have a lot to prove, not just to each other, but to the fan base at large. You could hear Archie talking about it before the match. They like having haters. They like having doubters. But eventually, you got to put up or shut up.
That's right. World Championship Wildcard. You're trying to get out. You're trying to go to the main event. It starts here. It starts now for both these teams.
A couple of the European squads coming into this wild card have not inspired a lot of confidence, but there's Archie to the far post and in. He just dances around the entire power team.
I mean, look at that. Great boost grab. Knows Amphis is going to go up for the challenge. Puts the shot on with pinpoint precision. You gotta love that from Archie.
20 seconds in, and maybe some doubts already being erased by Oxygen. Going right back to work, though. It's Ixo, who's been a tremendous defender in his tenure, especially in this open era. I think that's where he's kind of reinvented himself and got a lot more of a reputation. Here goes Fever, though. He's going to test Ixo, and Ixo up to the task again.
You gotta really keep your eyes out on power offensively, especially with this man in front, Amphis. Even in this tournament, he's been putting up good numbers, but can he do that here on this stage? Oxygen have come out, and they've shown their teeth. Jory has almost found the top right. The shot will go wide.
Oh, and Archie had that one go by him, so now numbers advantage. Fever and Amphis could not get on the same page. And an unfortunate break for power. Now numbers back the other way. Amphis trying to come bail out his teammate Fever, and he does.
Well,
so now it is right at midfield, a loose ball taken by Archie. Now Amphis hard to the back wall and nothing doing there. Cut out by Jorian. Now Ixo with Archie trying to sprint out down the wing. Amphis now, opportunity knocking, and it's just set away. Once again, deflected out in front. Fever shot denied by Jorian, so power there. They're not getting a lot of pace on these shots, but they are still racking up at least touches towards the net. Whether you want to call them shots or not, they're at least testing the Oxygen defense, but they have not broken through just yet.
We'll see how things look here. 3 minutes remaining in game one. Already, though, a strong start. Even looking at just the shot totals coming out, it's only been a couple. Things have just been kind of swaps of possession here, back and forth. A shot from Archie, shot from Jorius, and 2 from Fever. But we've seen Power really kind of take control and fight for that midfield.
Amphis getting the boost steal as he tries to get out of the zone. Midfield available to him as well, but he'll leave it as Torsos will come up, and he's got to contend with Jorius. And he does so with Ixo coming in to help out. Fever now towards the corner. He's got Amphis, who narrowly dodges a demo from Ixo from behind, but there's Jorius again, bringing it out. Still with Oxygen holding a narrow 1-goal lead, thanks to the efforts of Archie, who's rotated out. It's Jorius now for Ixo, available and denied again by Amphis.
Oh, but Archie trying to see if he can follow that. Almost got it. Follow-up from Ixo will go in. Oxygen proving successful here.
Again, they've got an incredibly high ceiling. They've got a low floor as well. Right now, we're seeing the ceiling out of Oxygen. Couple of attacks originating from the heavens as they are putting it right to Power at the moment. Up 2 goals, but still the entire second half of game one to go. Fever now trying to get around Ixo. Amphis trying to get in his way and could not. Ixo has been brilliant defensively. What else is new? Infield pass deflected out by Amphis. Now Torsos trying to pinch one across. It's there! Oh, Fever was as well. And now Amphis denied by Jorius and Archie. And they've got to scramble back.
Yeah, they got to scramble. You're seeing just how things are looking back and forth here between the two. It's been chances after chances. Power need to make the most within the offensive front. We've seen Oxygen really try to swarm and really push Power to their brink defensively. Another chance there. Archie will pick up the 3rd goal there. And Oxygen, again, when they're in that offensive front, they just have so much control, and they've been following up each other so well.
A minute 30 remains as Oxygen continue to pour it on. We had much higher hopes for Power coming out of the gates, thinking maybe this would be, if there was a weak link between the two kind of major regions, NA and EU, that maybe this would be an opportunity for Power to get one on the board for Oceania. Not the case if game one is any indication. Jory is right at Fever, and the onslaught continues. That demolition might open things up just a little bit. Amphis forward. There's Fever. Back over to Amphis, but it just developed way too slowly. No, it still goes in with 1:01 to go.
I mean, you saw it, right? The play seemed like it was pretty obvious. Pass over to the side. Joris went to get boost. He thought he had enough time, but did not expect that shot. Perfectly placed for Memphis.
Gives them some life here with just over a minute remaining. Important kickoff, of course, now. Torsos against Ixo, and it's Archie getting that away from Fever for the moment, but here he goes. He missed it off the ceiling, so Amphis has to come in. Will he have Torsos as an option? No, he takes it himself. Ixo, rebound to Torsos, who continues his tear. Over 50 career goals on land.
This is going to be really interesting. I mean, look at this. First of all, great setup from Amphis. Torsos with the follow and the finish here. And now Power slowly starting to surge here. They got two back-to-back. 49 seconds left. If Oxygen don't slow this thing down, Power could take control, get this series and this game back in their hands.
A little slow play off that kickoff from Power, trying to bring the ball deep into their own territory, and that gambit may pay off. It's Amphis up ahead to Fever, who might not have been ready for that pass. There was no boost to steal for him. Now Jorius, as Ixo makes sure there is no boost starve. Ixo called off by Archie with 30 seconds remaining. Deflected in front, Amphis was there. Now Torsos has to make a decision. He'll come up with his teammate rotating out. Looking for an infield pass, it's there, but deflected away. I think Torsos actually got a second touch on that. With now 15 seconds, it's Amphis trying to run it forward. Got away from him. Fever now with 10, trying to get through the corner. He's got one.
Oh, he got it through space.
Two. There's nobody there for Power. Oh, he did everything but score it himself. No time on the clock, and saved away at the last. Oxygen survives game one.
Oh my goodness, what a play there from Power late though. They had everything, but we talk about it, right? Final seconds, and the ball basically in the box, no one there, and no one able to finish that. They try to see if they can make something else happen, and it just does not end up working out. You got to give credit, though, to Oxygen. As you take a look at our Mobile 1 high-performance replay, Archie especially was able to really just be the spearhead of that offense, setting up a lot of things and allowing Oxygen to take control. But it's the late, again, I call it surge there from Power, that really ended up being the big factor here, as they almost were able to turn that around. I was really impressed.
Yeah, really impressed with a team that's able to perform like that offensively without Jorius kind of leading the charge, because he's the guy who's the leader on this team in scoring on land. Had played 94 games, make it 95 now. 94 goals in his career at RLCS lands. They do it without him scoring a single tally at all.
Right.
In that opening game, it was all Archie and Ixo.
Still,
well, offensively.
I mean, again, best of 7, still plenty of time.
Of course.
But, yeah, this one, it's coming down to how teams are holding on to that possession. What does that look like for Power moving forward? They know they can be successful on offense. We'll have to see if they can make some adjustments. Almost a good start there. Fever will finish, and Power strike first.
The one thing Oceania fans can kind of hang on to historically for these two teams, you've got just an insane record for Europe over Oceania at these lands. 27-4 all time in favor of Europe. But 3 out of those 4, Fever and Torsos have had a hand in them, as Amphis deflects one across, and we're off and running with Power leading. So 3 unanswered goals from Power, and that shot on from Ixo, testing the defense of Fever and company. Archie now around the boards, and he's going to send this one right back out towards midfield. Torsos got to bring it all the way back, and that could be real dangerous with Oxygen lurking, but they let this ball get right back out to the center line.
All right, so far, Power's had a great start. It's about keeping up that control, keeping up that level of pace. But Oxygen have been getting very comfortable in the offensive part. That's a little dangerous. Torsos with the lightest touch possible. But Amphis is there to send it across. But look, Power, it feels like they're playing catch-up. Every time someone from Oxygen touches the ball, they seem to, everyone has to readjust. That being said, they are still in the lead here. It's still first minute of game 2, lots of Rocket League to go. But Power have to be careful because Oxygen does seem, it seems like as the game progresses, they're getting more and more of a read on them.
That was a dangerous challenge, too, against Power with Fever, who had kind of gambled deep in Oxygen territory, got away with it. And now he's stuck in the corner. Here comes one. No, nothing there. And now here's Archie, up to the ceiling, where he's been deadly so far. So too is Ixo. This goes around. Ixo, look at his center, and denied again by Fever. One of the older roster here in Power, with one of the elder statesmen, Torsos, just a young 22 years of age. Still makes me feel absolutely anxious.
Well, that's because you are.
Thanks.
No
Appreciate it. Friends like you, who needs enemies?
That's right.
Archie for Amphis now as he comes up. Back forward, nothing there again. Power kind of been caught not being as aggressive as maybe they should, Dad.
Yeah, and when they are aggressive, sometimes it's in tough spots, or puts them in tough spots. You saw that double commit in the midfield, and next thing you know, Torsos has to sit back and, or Fever, I believe, had to sit back and play really tough defense there. They have to be careful to not get those double commits out or Oxygen, because again, Oxygen lurking, waiting for those kind of counterattacks to happen. You're seeing Oxygen, you know, on the other side, really pick and choose when they go. They don't want to send too many resources forward. It's been a tight game so far, and they know that all it takes is one good push upfield, they can get back into it.
It was a 1-0 game for a while. Right up to about this point in game one, just the other way. There's Archie's strike that put Oxygen in front for good. He's looking to tie this one up, but it's deflected by Torsos. There's Ixo on the follow-up. And now Jorius to tie, barred down and away. Still alive there for Oxygen as Ixo lost control, and back the other way it goes as far as Jorius. Fever now having to read the deflection from the ceiling, and still Oxygen trying to get physical here with Power, but not opening anything up, so Archie's got to play defense.
Yeah, they're not opening it. Yeah, you're right. They're not really opening anything up here on the Oxygen side, but they're also not leaving really gaps for Power to take advantage of. I think they've realized where Power have been able to strike the most, and for them, as long as they can get that last person back, keep things spaced out, and get a couple of beats in the midfield, Oxygen seem comfortable. They got to get things moving though. Minute 30 to go. They haven't really been too efficient on offense. Out of the 5 shots, obviously none of them went in. Taking their time here, but time is running out.
All the way across. Jorius got to be sure-handed with this. Torsos trying to read him, and boy, he had the soul read on him. Knew exactly where that ball was going. Amphis will bring it forward, but it's Ixo now. To the stealing. No stealing pinch. It's left for Jorius. Torsos and Jorius collide, and it's Amphis that has to pick up the scrap. And Torsos, that risky challenge coming from the back, and Amphis left to clear it away. 1 minute remains now in game 2. Power trying to battle back in this series. It is Ixo, threatened to go up. Instead went after Amphis, who had to wait. And that's a great adjustment made by Amphis in the Power defense, now down to 40 seconds.
Power starting to bunch up there in the corner. Who's going to be the person that steps up on the side of Oxygen? Ixo's had a solid game so far. We're seeing him make a couple good stops there in the midfield. Oh, Fever with the miss there. Amphis a little late on the follow-up, but Fever is still able to keep this ball in play. Power want to keep this in the blue half. We're approaching on that final 20 seconds. They understand it's been a 1-goal game, not trying to let that go, but they got to be careful because you see Archie trying to force the issue.
They've been very dangerous around the Power net, but nothing through yet here in game 2. 7 seconds remain. Last push now for OXG. Archie for Ixo to tie it with 2 seconds.
They only needed one play, and they made it work in the final seconds. Good control from Archie, puts it right on the nose of Ixo in the air, and he puts it where Power isn't. 2 seconds left, Oxygen in form, and we've got a tied-up game.
And surely overtime looming, but that got in the air. It's an opportunity. Amphis, nobody's home, and finally Jorius got there at the last moment. Fever now, send it across. Ixo's got to bring this to ground. He will, and we go to OT now in game 2.
He was cuddling that ball, making sure, okay, we are not letting this one get out of reach. That being said, we've seen Power score off the kickoffs really fast. They do have those early bursts. Archie with 0 boost, but he's just buying his team time on those rotations. He'll have to go all the way back now. Just going to slow down Oxygen's press upfield. Ixo recognizes that, comes through, tries to keep the play alive, but when overtime starts like this, you got to make sure you have everybody there. If Archie had more boost, he would have been able to finish this game too, but we're still playing on.
Archie got it to Jorius, and Jorius scores his 4th overtime land goal to give Oxygen a 2-0 lead.
Oh, Fever, he saw Archie there for the 50, tried to see if he could play it around him. Ball just got too far there. Jorius with the shot, making sure to sink that one in. And Oxygen, I mean, so many conversations about this team coming into this event. What do they look like? How will they perform? Is Power the favorites coming in? Oxygen really, again, proving themselves here on the world stage.
A distant third again for Torsos on the old team scoreboard as well. Just not getting as involved as you'd like perhaps here. He does have a goal. He does have an assist in this series. But around the midfield and defensively, they've almost played keep away from him. He hasn't been put in a deadly position to threaten Oxygen's defense. And as so often we talk about, is a team going to take maybe a timeout after going down 0-2? We do have timeouts here in the wild card, with them all being best of 7s. And we do have a timeout coming from Power. So they don't have their coach, they don't have their normal coach here. They've got to figure this out themselves. We saw Gen G kind of in that situation in Boston. So Daz, how does a team now with new personnel behind them kind of right the ship?
Well, yeah, that's the thing too. It really is going to come down to, obviously team chemistry here. These guys are Power. They've been playing together all season long. They've had that rapport, and I think, especially knowing all of the individual players, Torsos, Fever, Amphis, they have that ability to be able to sit there and discuss things with themselves. You see Amphis just trying to take some time. Also understanding the position that they've been in. Look at game 1, look at game 2. Very close games coming down to the wire both times. Power again in game 1 tried to come back a little bit later on in the game, and we saw that almost work out. But this time they had the lead in game 2. It was Oxygen that ended up being able to take the game back into their own hands in the final seconds. The biggest thing here for Power has to be that once they get that lead, increasing it, getting on those runs and making sure Oxygen are uncomfortable in the defensive end. It really seemed like anytime Power is up in front, Oxygen didn't really have to work too hard to get any clears out defensively, and the defense never really seemed too shaky either. As you can see, they're kind of hanging out over there. They're Snasky. Not really too worried. They got 2 games under the belt. They forced a timeout. Now it's just about keeping it locked in and finishing out the series.
See if Oxygen can continue that momentum now as we head on now to our 3rd game. Again, in this best of 7, all throughout the Swiss stage, all throughout the World Championship, as these 2 teams battle for a spot in the main event of 2023 Worlds. First step right here as Archie all the way back. He'll collect. We are underway with that bump, leaving Amphis in position to, all he can do is just pop it up. A missed opportunity for Power, and they almost got punished for it severely. They still could, as this is headed netward, and Fever's got to pop it away. This is not the start that Power wanted coming out of that timeout.
Yeah, you can see, again, them kind of just struggling to get really set. It's been very tough, though, with Oxygen, again, making their mark. And not only that, just the level of speed that they're playing at. Trying to be a player like Archie and Jorius to the ball is super tough. And then Ixo's been able to put it in very uncomfortable positions when he's on the ball. You see Jorius looking for that pass, or extending it upfield. Archie was there, but unable to go for it. Power trying to take control back. Torsos, oh man, almost got that past Ixo, but Ixo, once again, he makes life so hard for them.
Well, here goes Archie. Got around Amphis. That's off the post and away. Still deflected in by Jorius. I think it's tougher for a passive team to be more aggressive, as is the case here with Power, than it would be for maybe a more aggressive team to dial it back. And that's what Power has to contend with right now, because clearly during that timeout, just looking at how they've come out of that first minute and a half here, they're trying to be a little more aggressive, but not quite sure where anybody needs to be. Here goes Torsos. Rare to see him this far forward, and it's deflected away. He's got to scramble back. He does have some left in the tank, but Amphis does not. Torsos with a full tank. He'll go up to Amphis. Amphis around the corner, around Jorius, and he could not put it on net.
He went for it. That's the one thing you love to see out of that,
Yeah.
that confidence from Amphis. Now you're seeing Power. Again, take more control this time with the ball. Instead of booming it away, all right, Fever that time. Almost if he can make something happen. Torsos loses the 50. Ball straight down. Good block out. Ixo was right on top of it. That miss actually buys some space for Power. Jorius with the pre-jump got denied there. And now Power, again, getting more space upfield and really making that fight to make sure if Oxygen are going downfield, they're working every single step of the way.
Power going to have to take some risks to get back into this series. This is one as Fever dives in. Now it's Archie. Amphis waiting for him, and another great read. Tell you what, Amphis has been solid. Torsos will drop it down. Now Ixo with Archie waiting. He gets bumped out of the way. Another bump, though, on Fever, and this ball just left there for an eternity before Jorius got there. Here's Archie, indirect, on target, and Torsos denied a second touch by another aggressive forecheck.
I've been loving what I'm seeing, though, from Archie individually. He's been playing the ball high for a lot of the time we've seen him on it, and that's really been forcing Power to be in tough spots. That's a good shot. And Archie, again, this time making a great stop on the other side of the field.
Amphis up a little slower than Archie there, and Archie did just enough. Here goes Torsos, though. Got around Jorius, but Jorius got the bump. And now it's Fever. Deflected by Ixo. Amphis comes up and says, no, give it to me. And why not? It was his ground zero team that kind of ran Oceania during RLCSX. And it's one of the biggest shames, I think, that we never got to see that squad on the international stage. Fever's shot goes well wide.
If you're a Power fan, you need that one to go through. It doesn't, and now you're seeing them just try to keep the play alive. Good clear out from Archie, and that's going to force Power back. But you can see this game has been tight. Just like the series, we're approaching the final minute. No one has been able to get on the scoreboard. We saw Power throw everything in the kitchen sink at Oxygen and come up empty. Chance here again. Torsos going for the bump. Can he get it? Off the backboard, and it'll go in! Fever will get credit for the goal, and Power will go up.
And who was this? Was this Torsos just grappling Archie? Stuck him in the net, and the ball followed. Power get a late goal now with 54 to go. A lot less time to hold on to this lead.
I had to look at that replay again. I didn't know if Jorius' own goal or Fever got there in time. Fever did get there in time, but Jorius was in a tough spot. Oxygen, great work to make as many stops as possible, but now they've got to see if they can get some air late again. 40 seconds to go. Can they repeat what they did in game 2? They got to stop Fever. They do end up getting the block out. Torsos with the shot blocked away. Archie's going to boom it downfield, forcing Amphis to get in the air.
And now a team that had been a little more aggressive than before has to tone it back. Fever up ahead for Amphis, intercepted by Ixo. But Fever brings it right back in, down to 17. Oh, what a touch from Amphis that delays Oxygen maybe just enough. 12 seconds. Jorius is forward. Ixo was there as well. And then Amphis puts the brakes on to avoid Ixo. Down to 5 seconds. Fever beats 2 with the deftest of touches. And this should touch ground. It does. Power on the board.
They get one there off of just pure aggression and also a lot of really solid ball control. Power had, I mean, it was a tough fight there against Oxygen. And in order for them to end up taking that game, it was really impressive just seeing those extra bumps. They got a little dirty, just having to beat Jorius to the ball on that one play, but also the stops that they made on the other end were just as impressive too. We take a look at the number 1 high performance replay. Lots of close chances, lots of missed shots. The shooting has not been very pretty this series, but that being said, everybody has been giving it everything they've got. I mean, you talk about even that play there, like shot goes off, good on Fever for being there in time, but definitely some really good chances, especially off ball. But yeah, 94 there from Ixo, not necessarily too solid.
Well, you know what I think the biggest difference was? Torsos was much more forward in that game than any game he's probably played in the last several months. I mean, he was in Oxygen's face, in Oxygen's net, keeping, Archie at bay, and that led to the opening goal. He had so many more opportunities. They are a much more lethal squad when he's on the attack, and Amphis, of course, was so great for so long at the start of this open era. Took a bit of a step back, now trying to take a big leap forward.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of Amphis, like you said, one of the stars here in the World Championship. I mean, even just comparing his numbers this season, 18th in terms of not just wildcard, even main event teams. 18th in score, 9th in goals, averages a 1.02 goals per game. And he's been a big reason for Power's success. But he is not alone. You brought up Torsas earlier, and even in that game, 3 crucial saves from Torsas, and then, like you said, that bump to give them their only goal.
And he had a few shots as well, part of a 7-shot attack from Power that got him on the board here. But, whoa, what a read by Archie. Now Ixo there, and Fever beats him to the punch. Now Torsas, he's forward again. To the corner, nothing there as Archie plays it forward. Jory has got the boost steal and possession. Amphis stuck at the net. This drops down towards Archie, and Torsas guides it gently to the corner, but not out of harm's way. Ixo infield pass, nobody's there, so Fever will have all day to clear. But here comes Archie, give it away. Archie got bumped so Amphis can save.
Now Amphis, let that one get away from him, and boom, right off the backboard. Have to be keeping the ball a little close, especially against Oxygen. Anytime they see the ball in air or just with basically a chance to go off the backboard, they usually come up successful. Amphis got a good beat there, but again, Jory is back in time. Demo on the play. Jory is trying to get past Fever. Great read on the side of Fever. It's both teams. I mean, control here has not been too safe. Or,
right.
It just feels like the
kind
ball.
Edge of your seat stuff.
Yeah, the possession's just been moving around a lot.
There goes Archie around the boards again. Ixo's there.
Whoa!
Oh, what a win! And Amphis with the save, almost brought back in. Again, hold your breath time for Power. As Amphis charging ahead, got a boost deal, got an Archie's play, and it's off the crossbar. Another golden opportunity for Power gone by the wayside. They're continuing to bring the fight to Oxygen, though. All of these games decided by just 1 goal. Power finally got one back on DFH. Here goes Archie. Couldn't quite get around Torsas cleanly. Jory is to the corner. Who's the follow-up? It's Ixo, off target and cleared by a tandem of Power defenders. Now Fever. Oh, that was dangerous as Jory has got caught on his way back. But now here they come forward. Archie. Oh, cleared for takeoff, but Fever got in the way.
And good on Fever, though. Like, that was a counterattack from Oxygen. They had everything going, and they were on the ball in a snap. For Fever to be able to read that, too, it was a do-or-die situation. Another one there, and another block out for Fever.
Oh, Torsas was in a real tough spot there. He was all turned around, and then he got demolished, but still, Oxygen unable to capitalize. Here goes Fever now, around Jorius, through Archie. Torsas forward again. They've got to scramble back, though, and as Torsas has got a touch, that Amphis has to clean up as well, and he does.
Light touch out from Fever. What more can he do this game? Tries to set up a lane there. Torsas wants to go for it, but ends up having to go back, recognizing the defense. Will also let Amphis take possession to start to lead things off. Fever tried to get up in the air early, but Joris is just that much faster. And Torsas, not the best touch, and gives it straight to Archie! He puts it in the back of the net, and Oxygen put on the pressure.
That is an absolutely awful start to a counterattack. There was no flow to that whatsoever. They just gave the ball away, and it was doomed from the start. Archie's got his 3rd goal, his first since the overtime winner back in Game 2. And now Fever has that one get away from him. He's backwards. Everything's just awkward right now for Power as Oxygen's closing in on achieving match point. Ixo kept it near the target, and Torsas will try to break out of the zone. They're also close to each other. It still just looks
what is
hideous. This is not pretty at all.
We just saw everybody from Oxygen in the air there, and it did absolutely nothing because you could just see the communication issues.
And through all that, they're still only down 1. Amphis almost tied it with Jorius in the way.
Torsas trying to get that center, gave up that last goal, and is trying to get it back for his team. He's in the air. Can he beat Jorius? Does get a piece of it. So we'll slow things down for Oxygen, but for Power, they need to speed it up. Not a lot of time here. We're hitting that 40-second mark. And again, possession control has not necessarily been there. Off the corner, good pass, good shot, but a better block out from Ixo, slowing things down. They're looking for bump, but it's still not enough. 30 seconds remaining, and even though Power are playing this left, right, they haven't been able to put it in the back of the net. What a save! Follow-up from Memphis is good, and we are tied.
For as ugly as things looked about a minute ago, that was a lot prettier. You love the selfless play with the extra passes. You keep Oxygen kind of off balance defensively, not panicking, and Power strikes with only 21 to go. And another 1-goal game brewing here. Overtime perhaps with Amphis on the attack. Right at Archie, only 13 to go. Big win by Fever, but better from Jorius. He put the brakes on, and now here they come. Demolition will cut out the midfield attack. Torsos the initial save. Power should be able to bring this to ground if they so choose, or unless they want to get a little greedy. And they do. Jory is the clear. Nobody forward for Oxygen, so this should go to ground at will, and we go to overtime.
Going to overtime here, big overtime. Oxygen win this match point. If Power win this, it'll not only give them a lot of confidence as they tie up the series, but it may also shake up Oxygen a little bit more, dropping 2 back-to-back.
From that timeout, the confidence might be going a little bit less. Caught a deflection, and Torsos ties the series.
Oh, you saw the frustration on Archie's face as he tried to go up for that. I'm not gonna lie. That's unlucky.
Hey, that's 114 in the back of your net. What do you want?
You know, sometimes you just let him have it. And that was one of those times. Great redirect from Archie. He's really making the most out of things. Oh, yeah, he didn't like that. You could tell.
That is Torsos' 5th overtime winner at an RLCS LAN. The leader of all 6 players here on the pitch. And that's how, I bet the other 4 probably look similar to that.
Well, you know, I feel like that was a little bit of poetic justice. I mean, you saw Torsos right there. He gave a goal to Archie, and Archie was just being polite and giving one right back.
Yeah, I guess.
Happened to happen at, the World Championship Wildcard Swiss stage.
Yeah, well.
That's about it.
Well, yeah, everything's just a mirror here. Speaking of mirror, team loses twice. They call a timeout. Just as Power did after the first couple of games, Oxygen is going to take their timeout as well. So we've got effectively a best of 3 here with no timeouts remaining for either side. And a series that has kind of turned on its head here, Daz.
Let me check the bingo card.
There you go.
And
Nose right. Dude, hope you listen.
And now you get into this situation, though, for Oxygen, especially that loss. It is unfortunate for them, but at the same time, it really is almost a mirror situation from Power. Games have been very close. We're talking just 1 or 2 misplays here and there. And you got to think about it as well, when we talk about World Championship, like the pressure of just playing on the stage, getting those nerves out. This is the first series for both these teams in a long time, even longer for Oxygen. They came out the gate swinging, but now we're seeing what happens when they get hit. Can they bounce back? Next 2 wins on either side here will take their first round matchup and get a great start here in the Swiss stage. It's going to be an important few games we got coming up.
A little bit of history as well, very fitting since we're in Germany. If you remember Pashy 90, legendary German player back in the early days of the RLCS. He played, 55 games on LAN. And now Amphis has passed that in this series. He's right there with him in goals as well. I think he just passed him in goals all time as well with his equalizer in that last game as we get set to go on to game 5 now to break a 2-all tie. Again, best of 7 here, so it's not match point for either side, but the winner is 1 win away from a 1-0 start, which of course, in these 5-round Swiss brackets, is critically important.
Yeah, we've seen the LAN nerves come to play. We've also seen players really take things to the next level as this series gets into the finale. Who will be that player that really does shine? So far, Power off to a solid start possession-wise. They had this ball out in front, and the passing that I've seen out of them has really made it tough for Oxygen to get the ball out. Honestly, it's just been, when you see Power just switching lanes from left to right, Oxygen have to keep their heads on a swivel. Sometimes they don't, and sometimes a lot of double commits happen. That double commit worked out very well, except this time gives Fever a double. He was trying to put it on, but again, could not hit the mark.
Well, Amphis trying to keep that close to the net. Here goes Torsos looking for more. And Archie's got to get up quick, and he does, just barely, with Fever bearing down on him. Now Amphis with Fever there as well. He was more of a decoy, so that didn't really work out at all. Here goes Jorius, only Torsauce to beat. He makes the stop, and Fever's got the clear. Amphis in a foot race with Archie. Second touch, not quite where it needed to be. Nobody was there for it anyways for Power. And this goes all the way across. A lot more possession now out of Power here ever since they took that timeout after game 2. And it has paid off in a big, big way now for the Aussies.
Oxygen not trying to play late, as that was something that was a big problem, especially in game 4. In the earlier parts of the games in this series, they outsped them. I mean, the pace was really pushing things to another level and really making Power awkward. But I think Power started to adjust to that. And then for Oxygen, knowing that they were kind of running into a wall, they needed to figure something out. They're trying to do that here. Again, of course, right after the timeout, but first couple of minutes have just been all Power. Amphis has a flip, tried to get it through, but it was saved on the goal line by Archie.
Well, that was similar to how Archie scored the opening goal too, just brought it all the way around from the back wall and out, and he almost snuck it by. As Jorius now trying to play that indirect from the wall, and now it's Archie waiting at midfield, but the ball's not gonna get to him. It's Fever bringing it back in. Ixo off the side, banked right to Torsauce, and Fever got it around Archie, so Ixo's gonna dunk back into his own net. And a little slow play on his way through to win that challenge. Halfway mark now in a scoreless game. Nothing separates Oxygen and Power in the game or series. Fever going after Jorius, but he recovers on the back wall and just jackhammers that away.
Torsauce, he plays out on the wall, just wants to get it away from Ixo. Fever trying to get involved, but it's a big clearance from Archie. Oxygen under a little bit of pressure, but they do get some space. Awkward there. Archie got a piece of the ball. He was looking for the bump on Torsauce. Now going the other way. Amphis with a strong carry downfield, forcing a tough save out of Ixo, who cannot get a follow-up. It's in a tough spot again, but Archie is going to be the one who plays this one out, and Ixo recovers and gets it back into midfield.
Second, third, and sometimes fourth chance opportunities have been essential for Power in this series as they've come back and tied it all up. Here goes Ixo. They've only needed one strike as this Oxygen squad. When they have scored, it has been almost from out of nowhere. It is Archie now, bringing it through the corner. Fever's all over him. Amphis not forward, but Torsauce is, and that's probably the worst case scenario for Oxygen. They make the stop this time, as it's Archie through Amphis. No, sir.
It's been a little sloppy, though, on the side of Oxygen. A couple of miscommunications. We saw Ixo in the air with no boost. We saw Jorius with a very slow and awkward pass, and Archie had to go backwards here. They've not been firing on all cylinders, and it's showing as we approach the final minute. But Power have not been able to hit the mark. I mean, out of the 7 shots they've taken, they've come up empty. Oxygen have only taken 2. Infield pass. Ixo in! Oxygen strike!
Oh, another dead giveaway midfield, and unfortunately it's Torsauce who just didn't have a good read on that ball coming out, and it hung Fever out to dry. And perhaps that could be the winner, but 52 long seconds remain here for Oxygen to run. Hold off Power. That kickoff might be the reset they needed. Oh my gosh, Archie from way downtown, and it's just gone from bad to worse for Power.
Bad to worse is right. Kickoff was just all Oxygen. They caught Power out of place. And a big lead here, 2-0, the way this series has gone. Power, though, this has got to be frustrating from them. Fever's going to try to get the bump, but Jorius, he's been in that situation so many times, gets the save out, brings it all the way downfield, and Oxygen looking to see if they can get more before the clock hits 0.
Well, here goes Torsauce. I caught a deflection off of Archie, and it's cleaned up by Ixo. And now Fever over towards Amphis, and he whiffed on it on the side wall. So it just continues to get worse now for Power, who are about to be facing double match point as Jorius, in his 99th RLCS LAN game, puts the dagger through.
Look at this. Pre-flip, dunk on Torsauce into the top right corner. And once Oxygen got going, they never took their foot off the pedal. 20 seconds here, and game 5 is all but done. And the only reason I'm so confident with calling that so early is because of how this series has gone. It's been a lot of one-goal games and not a lot of high scoring. Final few seconds. Power will have to dig deep. as Oxygen will put this series on match point. They're 1 game away from going into upper round 2.
That's been the worst beating that we've seen in this series. I mean, we saw Oxygen threaten to run away with games early in the series, and then Power kind of dragged it back, especially game 1, where I feel like if game 1 had gone another 20 seconds, we'd have gone to overtime. Just Power had that much pressure. But what matters is reality. And in reality, Oxygen is 1 win away from surviving this scare at the hands of Power and starting off their Swiss journey 1-0. Of course, we've got Champions Field on the horizon if Power can turn it around. But you don't see a whole lot of Power on this highlight reel. At least you don't see a whole lot that Power could be proud of, because a lot of dead giveaways. And it really did feel like, as much as Oxygen would have liked to take that game from them, Oxygen kind of handed them a couple of goals on a silver platter.
Exactly, and we've seen Power do the same. One of those, again, going to that Torsos touch that we saw in game 4. It just feels like as much control and offensive pressure that they've had, they have not been able to necessarily put Oxygen in those tougher spots that they had them in earlier on in the series. Just feels like Oxygen have been more locked in, and even when they do make mistakes, they've been so ready to cover for each other. But can they close out this series here on land? I like the kickoffs that we've been seeing for Power as well. Getting both those corner boosts. They allow Oxygen to take those early shots because they know that it gives them ball possession and that they are able to not only save it out, but have 2 people just immediately boosted up off the rip. They want to try to see if they can turn that into something more, but it hasn't been too necessarily successful against Oxygen so far. It's still, though, it's nice to see.
With the patron saint of ramen, named Bob the Great, presiding over Neo Tokyo. 100 games on land in the RLCS now for Jorius, trying to put Power away, and Power right now look completely out of sorts. This could be dangerous, though. It's almost like the Drunken Master fighting style, right? They kind of look all discombobulated, but the second you let your guard down, they can strike and almost steal a goal here, which they're threatening to do now as Amphis got the challenge. Nobody else really forward. One diving in here, it's Torsos, and that's pounded away by Jorius.
Fever a little bit in control. We've seen this a lot, though. They get the double commit. Amphis on the ball, has Torsos mid, but not able to get it to him. And now there's Archie on the ball. So much space being given to him. He's still looking for the bump on Fever, but Fever on the goal line gets knocked away, and Archie will score.
Well, Archie continuing to silence his doubters. Got a lot of help from Ixo there. Amphis almost got back to it to make it 5 goals now for Archie. And a strong performance, to say the least, out of the man who's got maybe the biggest chip on his shoulder on this team. Ixo down to Archie, put another log on the fire.
Right off the kickoff as well. Look at this, Archie sending it across. Ixo just that much faster, got the extra flip, back to Archie, and Power behind that shot.
Archie Pickthall, just dominant in this series where Power had threatened to really make a game of it. And not quite single-handedly, but very close. Archie has shut him down. Jorius will back out, and now he'll back out by force as he's demolished. Amphis has it fall to him. Fever's there and deflected by Archie, or by Ixo. Now Fever through the corner. Got to find a way to get this central, and he just gives it right to Archie, which of the 3, the absolute last person you want to give the ball to.
Ooh, control there from Torsos. Power now. I mean, feels like they need a full recharge. It's been tough for them, just seeing not only their potential, but also their shortcomings. Just looking at, especially here in this game, not necessarily, I mean, it feels like they give Oxygen so much room when they're in front in those opportunities in their box. And for Power, being able to shut that down has got to be crucial for them.
Backed out towards Ixo. There's Torsos with the take. If anybody's going to bring them back, it might have to be Torsos, who again, who's been kind of captain clutch in this region for so long. Here's Amphis trying to get it down to Torsos, who had to turn away for a moment, and that hesitation cost Power another opportunity. Still available though in front as Ixo's got it back out to the corner. Torsos dance around one, he's got two more to beat. He beat them both, and it's a one-goal game.
I love the quickness there from Amphis to get there, but of course, you gotta look at Torsos. Gets the ball on the nose, flick over two, and Amphis doesn't waste any time getting to that play. One goal separates these two. 1:58 on the clock in game 6.
Well, Jorius will throw it forward, a testing ball that Fever's able to deal with, and now Amphis. Downfield for Torsos, the catalyst of this Power attack. Torsos there, infield pass deflected out by Ixo. Amphis was oh so close, but close only counts in horseshoes. All the way to the corner now, and it got around Torsos, so it's got to be Fever. With Amphis being leery of Ixo, this is dropped down, open net, Archie will put it away, Ixo steals it.
And just when you think you see signs of life from Power, Oxygen comes and takes it away right in the air. Great touch from Jorius to set that up. You saw Amphis try to go for the play, but there was no one in the backfield. Jorius knocks it out, Oxygen puts it in, and their chances of finishing this series right here look that much better. Oh, but wait, maybe a chance off the kickoff. Fever, no!
Oh, what
Archie,
a save.
what a block!
That was unreal from Archie, one-on-one in no man's land, and he had the read. The Power got to go right back to work. Fever got the win here. It's high for Amphis. Now Torsos got to come play hero. Line up a second touch, it's not there. Everybody just flopping around like fish on the goal line, and finally slammed through by Amphis.
They made it work, and they had Oxygen guessing. You see everybody thinking Torsos had a second touch. Fever says, let me go for the bump. Amphis goes all in on the play, and here we go again. 1 goal difference, and about a minute left in game 6.
They've given themselves about 20 more seconds than they had in a very similar spot in game 1. Can they turn it around? I said they needed another 20 in that game. They have it this time. Jorius for Ixo. Torsos played across. Fever looking to pinch. It's kind of a sad pinch. So now Torsos got to power it away, and he does. Amphis is there. Amphis to the backboard, and Archie's there to stop him with 40. Here comes Fever again. Denied by Ixo. Amphis back to the drawing board. He gave up the midfield boost.
Now this one will roll over to the side. Powers will try to keep the play alive. Pinch to Amphis, but Jorius denies it. Fever in the back end. Good demo to give Power some space, but you see Ixo shutting things down, keeping that ball on the back wall. Power need to go, and they need to go now. Can they get this one through?
They tried to pitch that to the corner. It didn't quite work out. It didn't get there fast enough. Here goes Fever, up high again. Try to make Archie miss. He did not. There's a demo on the play. Power's got to work from their back line. Got to get this in the air. They do, but it's going the wrong way. No time on the clock. Here goes Amphis, just around Ixo. Got to have someone there. Torsos! Oh, Amphis could not get to it. The net was wide open, inviting. Put the ball home, and they just could not.
Even when they mustered an almost perfect play past the entire defense, it just wasn't enough. Oxygen pushed and pushed against Power until they broke them down. And will take this series in 6. A great start, though, to the Swiss on the side of Oxygen. Power, again, we saw what they could do. But, again, we're going to have to go back to the drawing board. Still plenty of games to go for both these teams.
A nightmarish finish. A nightmarish final, like minute 20. A happy ending in the end for Oxygen as they survive and stay on the upper half of the Swiss bracket. They start this wild card 1-0.
Oh, there you go.
There you go. But going 6 games, that throws, of course, everything comes down to game differential after round 1. So you kind of start scoreboard watching and plugging in the numbers and wonder, all right, who's next? It's certainly going to be a tougher test than what they faced here, but boy, was it a challenge. As we look back one more time at the Mobile One High Performance replay and see just how Archie, Jorius, and Ixo got off to a strong start here at the wild card.
I mean, loved it what we saw out of the Oxygen, especially Archie there too. We're looking at, again, Mobile One high performance replay, and Oxygen did go into that high performance there late.
So Oxygen survives. They're 1-0. And Veracity is standing by with Ixo.
Thank you so much for that, guys. I'm joined here by none other than Ixo himself. Congrats are in order for you and the team, homie. But talk to me, why do you think it was that they decided to go up against you guys for round one?
I mean, obviously they were 7 picks, so I don't think they had much choice, but I'm a bit surprised they chose Falcons. I mean, they did choose Falcons over us because obviously Archie and Jory, as just the name value, are so much, like, so high in my opinion. But yeah, I think they chose us because we were honestly one of the last two, so that's literally the only reason.
And obviously yourself and Snasky, being the dynamic duo that you are, have been together for quite some time across various teams. How has the transition been moving into a team like Oxygen, and I'm so sorry to say it, but to have to deal with the likes of Archie?
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting. I mean, me and Snasky, we go way back. We've been teaming for like 2.5 years, but yeah, I mean, I'm good friends with Archie. I mean, I never really knew Jory that well, but he's a really nice guy, so for both of us, it's pretty easy transitioning. I mean, people give him a lot of stick for like not grinding, but honestly, both of them have been grinding pretty hard this bootcamp.
So you guys had a really strong game one as well, and then it seemed like that momentum that you had initially started to fall off a little bit. How was it that you guys were able to ultimately bring it on back and close out the series?
I mean, in my opinion, we didn't really bring it back. We kind of played mediocre for our standards. I still don't think we've shown the world like what we can do. We should have forwarded that series, to be honest. We weren't even close to our like normal standard. But yeah, I think we just spoke and we kind of figured some things out for next series.
Well, you said that you should have 4-0'd it. On that note, I want your prediction. What is your Swiss result going to end up being?
It all depends on matchups, to be honest. But if I have to be honest, either 3-0 or 3-1.
I'm liking it. Thank you so much for joining me.